Right, hi. Uh, so, yeah, right. I should really look into this. I should have prepared better for this, really. Okay. Um, um, well, I'm looking up the Discordian calendar because I'm working on this 5-day week now. So, yeah, there's this thing. If you go to Wikipedia, right, look up Discordian calendar. It's far out. It goes back about 3,000 years. It's very similar to ours. Hi, John. It's very similar to our calendar. It's just that instead of having 52 weeks of 7 days, you have 73 weeks of 5 days. Yeah, so I just thought to myself, I like the idea. I like the idea of managing 5 days at a time. Trying to manage 7 days at a time, it's just like it's too much hard work. It's too many things to think about. So having a 5-day week instead of a 7-day week, it's just much easier, you know. And if someone like me who's got traumatic stress disorder, just having a 5-day week just makes so much sense. You know, it's just like it's manageable. How much can you do? How much? I'm looking at how much I can do in a 5-day week. So what I've been doing is I've still been doing my exercise, like the high intensity interval training, running up hills. Maybe I'm aiming at the moment to do it at least once every 5 days, but I did do it twice in the last 5 days. I'm just sort of like testing out because so much of what's important is about recovery. Like you do your exercise and then you've got to recover, you know, and it takes a couple of days maybe to sort of feel back to normal again. Ah, dear. I just don't feel like drinking as much or smoking. The more exercise I do, the less I want to drink or smoke because it just takes away from recovery. I need to recover more quickly so I can do more exercise. So what I've done today, the other thing, I've done the high intensity interval training. I've got that down. It seems to be going well. So today it was jumping off stuff. So yeah, I found a bit of some wood in the park, you know, that's like a big tree that's quite big, you know, so jumping off that, it's according to like different places on the place, so I started off like jumping off about sort of belly height, about that high, and I went up to about, you know, upper chest height, up to about there. So, you know, you can really feel it jolt in your bones. And then that was this morning. So now it's 6 o'clock here in the UK. I felt tired in the afternoon. You know, I didn't want to drink anything. Just like, and I felt this with not so much the high intensity interval training, but in the past when I've done weights as well, I feel a bit tired. I feel like I'm going to sleep well that night. The reason to jump off these logs is to create these osteoblasts. They're called osteoblasts in your blood, and they help build bone density, you know, and strengthen teeth and stuff. So this is all part of the long-term plan of health, you know. The reason just to go over it again, in case you've forgotten, the reason of looking at this long-term is because I've reevaluated the work, and it seems like it's going to go on for a lot longer than I previously thought. And so getting your physical health under control and working well for you. Hi. Hi, Shiny Beast. Yeah, working well for you, then it's like you can concentrate on other things after that. So anyway, that's why I'm working on this 5-day week, so I can see how much stuff I can fit into 5 days. One of the things I've come up with is this. It's really funny because it seems so obvious. I don't know why I've never seen anyone talk about it before. The intermittent fasting, where you sort of you try to fit all your food into a short window of maybe sometimes 8 hours. I'm trying to look at 4 hours or less. Now that sounds quite difficult, but there's a simple way of doing it. It's called a 4-course meal. It's really straightforward. Have a bit of fruit to sort of get your enzymes going, or you could have a salad. Then a soup with like a stock. You know, I generally use chicken stock to make my soups. So you're getting a lot of, and quite often put some green herbs in there, like parsley, flat leaf parsley, or some watercress to give it some like greens and vitamins and stuff. So you get a lot of nutrients out of that. Then you go on to your main meal, or you know, some meat and fish or vegetables. And then a dessert. You know, and it just makes like a really. There's like your digestion. There is a way of doing a 4-course meal so that you have like something that's alive to start with. Then you have a soup which is salty. And it opens up your stomach. Then you have your main meal, and then you have your dessert at the end, and that closes off your stomach. So you can get a lot of food in a short space of time if you eat it in the right order. Eat the right things in the right order, so you can have a large meal over 2 or 3 hours. And what I've been doing is like cooking a soup for like 3 or 4 days and sticking that in the fridge, and then the next day maybe cook a main meal that I can have 2 or 3 days, and just heat it up. So I haven't got to keep cooking all the time. And then I can do that like for the first 3 or 4 days, and then have a day off and just maybe have something light or a bit of fruit, or maybe even fast. Okay, so I'm looking at now doing like a video every 5 days at this time, sort of 6 o'clock here. Just to help me focus on my 5-day thing, and also so you don't have to watch so many videos. Okay, so yeah, well, I haven't been drinking tea and coffee. I've had no caffeine really for about 3 or 4 weeks, apart from 1 cup of coffee. That was about a week or 2 ago. So and I'm starting to miss coffee, not too much, but I've decided to put a rule on my work so that I can't have any more coffee until I've had 2 weeks of no smoking and 4 weeks of no drinking. So I want to have coffee by Christmas. So I've got about another month, 3 or 4 weeks to sort of get it all under control, to quit smoking for 2 weeks and quit drinking for 4 weeks. And the way I'm going to do that is by keep ratcheting up the exercise. You know, when I start, I've done the high intensity thing. That's working now. Now I've got to start jumping off of stuff more regularly until I can get that under control and I'm recovering quickly. Straight away, I already feel like more solid just from just today's jump. I mean, I've done this for years actually, like on and off, jumping off stuff just before I knew that it creates bone density. But it just seemed like natural, you know, you jump off stuff, you're going to strengthen your bones. It just seems obvious, but it's a really good way. It's a good tried and tested way to get bone density. And then, oh yeah, I've tried the chicory as well. Yeah, I don't know. That was that screechy one. It was like an Ayatollah or someone shouting. I don't know what it was, but it did make me laugh. Yeah, so where was I? Oh, right, yeah. So then it's going to be the weightlifting. Once I've got all that down, it's going to be a lot easier to quit drinking, because I just don't want to drink when I've done all that exercise. It just, I need to recover, and I feel tired, so I want to sleep and stuff. So the other thing is, I done this stuff. Okay, so instead, I'm still having chocolate, like raw cacao, which has got some caffeine in it. So in the morning, like first thing, say 6 o'clock in the morning, I have 2 teaspoons of raw cacao, a little pinch of salt, some sweetener like stevia, and some xylitol from wood bark, and then herbs, like half a teaspoon of black ant extract, a quarter of a teaspoon of cistanche extract, a quarter of a teaspoon of marrow root, a quarter of a teaspoon of reishi. What else? Oh, about a quarter of a teaspoon of horny goatweed. I think that was it. Yeah. Anyway, that and the cacao just boosted me up with loads of energy first thing in the morning. Oh yeah, and the fat that I put in there was like about maybe 10 or 15 grams of grass-fed butter ghee, and just about 10 grams of coconut oil. I found that the MCT oil, it doesn't do much, for me really. So I'm better off just going straight for just good quality coconut oil. Yeah, it was a good testosterone boost. I did have a few more things actually later on in the day. I think I had some like ashwagandha. I can't remember whether I'd done the whole lot. I don't think I did. No, I think it was just those ones in the morning. Then I had a tea with what's that stuff called? Slippery elm bark powder, which goes very a bit like porridge. It's very like gloopy. A big teaspoon of that. Some suma root powder, which is like a sort of it's Brazilian ginseng. It's cute and it cures everything. And some asparagus root powder as well, and a bit of honey and some mixed spice in there. Just made a drink with that, so that got me a few more herbs and good for my digestion. In the morning, when I make my chocolate drink with the fat and the herbs, also as a base tea, I use hawthorn tea, which is good for circulation and for the brain and stuff. Okay, so that went on to about 11. Then I took my supplements, my magnesium and zinc and copper. Then about 12 or 1 o'clock, I had a big glass of like about 35 grams of bee pollen mixed in with water. I left it all morning and stirred it a few times so it's all dissolved nicely, and drunk that down. And then went out and done I've done a bit of short and high intensity interval training, like running up the hills for 20 seconds, 6 times. And by the afternoon, I just had so much energy because it was the second time I'd done it in the space of 4 days. So I just kind of like, I didn't really need to have a drink, but I just felt like really charged up. I've done this a few times before in the past when I've had a certain amount of herbs, like especially like that of herbs. You get like a testosterone boost, and they just work in harmony and sort of like all boost each other up, it seems. So you get a really powerful effect. I might try doing that in the next video. I'll have them during the day and then like make the video when I'm still like charged up, not drinking. But whether I'll be able to make a video, I don't know. But I think it's worth a shot just for the laugh and that. Okay, how are we doing for time? 15 minutes, right? Yeah, I really think this is worth checking out, this Discordian calendar. As I say, it goes back for 3,000 years. They have 5 seasons, 73 days, or 73 weeks of 5 days. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, I think I'll leave it here today. I know it's Halloween. I probably should do an hour-long video and like get all Halloweeny, but I just can't be bothered. I've been exercising. I'm a bit tired, so I'll be back again hopefully in 5 days' time. It's nice to see you guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Take care.